You know, when I first saw the trailer for this film, I thought, how refreshing. A mid-sized budget movie that actually looks good. It's not a sequel, it's not based on historical events or some corporate product. What could possibly go wrong?
They're not people, Maya. It's just programming.
This story unfolds in a future where humans are in a war with AI. An ex-Special Forces soldier is sent on a mission to track down the Creator, who leads the AI resistance and the mastermind behind some sort of super weapon. But when he finally uncovers this so-called weapon, it turns out it's a little robot girl named Elfie, and he's reluctant to destroy her. There's a lot I like about this movie, but it also disappointed me in many ways. It almost seems that for everything great about this film, there's a catch. It's kind of like the movie Bedazzled with Brendan Fraser. You know, every time he makes a wish, it all seems great, but there's always a catch.
I wish that I were married to Allison and that I were very, very rich and very powerful.
Oh, mierda! Soy un narcotraficante colombiano.
And that's basically how I feel about this movie. So first of all, for a movie that only cost $80 million, I gotta say it looks fantastic. And I really like the setting of this film. It's like a Vietnam War movie crossed with futuristic sci-fi. Writer and director Gareth Edwards, who also directed the movie Monsters and Rogue One, shot the entire film on Sony FX3 cameras. They're these compact and versatile DSLRs that really let you get creative with your shots because they're small. But I didn't see anything in this movie that was impossible to do with a larger camera. So it feels like they only use the DSLRs to cut down on the budget, which is fine, but then we get to the script.
This film's a melting pot of movies I grew up loving.
Let me put it this way. If you've never seen any sci-fi movie in the past 3 decades, you're probably gonna love this film. But if you're an average moviegoer, there's something very familiar about all this. I really don't mind when movies borrow plot points from other movies. I really liked Edge of Tomorrow and Palm Springs, which of course borrowed the repeating day concept from Groundhog Day. But at what point does it stop being borrowing from other movies and becomes copying the homework from everyone around you? Because there are a lot of other sci-fi movie concepts in this film. The first thing is the main plot point. So the little girl robot can turn off anything electrical, and she was developed to fight the main weapon of the West called Nomad, which is this huge battle station that shoots missiles from the sky. A giant battle station that fires death and destruction onto the surface of a planet? Where have I seen that before? That sounds so familiar. I'm really racking my brain here. Apart from Star Wars, this movie heavily borrows from Total Recall, The Matrix, Armageddon, District 9, The Terminator, and even a couple of video games, Stray and Fallout 4. And it's not like it's very subtle either. I'm not gonna spoil it, but the Armageddon part of this movie is basically the same scene. And then we have the predictability of the story, and this is not a spoiler, it's in the trailer and it's in the first 10 minutes of the film. So at the beginning of the movie, John David Washington's character is undercover with the AI resistance because he's trying to hunt down the Creator, a person called Nirmata. His wife is heavily pregnant, and after an attack, she is presumed dead, only to turn up alive 5 years later. That is like a game of connecting the dots with only 2 dots. If you want to have a big reveal at the end of your story, then don't give me all the information up front. So yeah, I was disappointed. The movie looks great, but visual effects don't really impress me anymore. Almost all VFX look good nowadays. If you really want to impress me, write a good script. This movie does have a handful of awesome little moments, and it's very well acted. I always liked John David Washington, and the young actress who plays Alfie really impressed me. But if the script isn't very original, I'd rather watch a sequel with a more compelling narrative. So I thought The Creator was pretty mediocre. It has its moments, but the story is so predictable and derivative from a lot of other sci-fi movies, so I guess I can recommend it, but only if you haven't seen any of the movies I mentioned. But if you have, I really wouldn't bother.
Blanche!